Unova was my first region, home to over 150 Pokemon. I spent years trying to hunt them all. Most of these hunts were before I could record gameplay because they happened in older games, so expect a mix of screenshots and Switch footage. But before we get into the stories, here's a quick look at my entire Unova Shiny collection. Some took minutes and others took days, but I pushed through and caught them all. While in this video, I'm not going to cover every single individual Unova Shiny, I will be talking about the ones that meant the most to me, the ones I'll never forget for better or for worse. But trust me, the stories behind these shiny Pokemon are still pretty cool. And with that being said, let's go back to where it all started, the shiny that kicked off everything. Like I said, Unova was my first region, and Pokemon Black and White were my first mainline game. So of course, my very first partner Pokemon was Snivy. Snivy was also the first Pokemon I wanted to shiny hunt. It became the first shiny Pokemon I got from Generation 5, and honestly, it kicked off everything. As a kid, I played Black and White so much. I poured tons of hours into it, reset my save, and started the journey all over again. I always tried out different starters, but somehow I always came back to Snivy. I still have tons of shiny Snivy saved across generations. Pokemon Black and White, Pokemon X and Y, and multiple in Pokemon Home, and now in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as well. It's definitely mid and competitive unless you're using Contrary, but in Scarlet and Violet, it's finally getting the recognition it deserves, and I love seeing it win. Some of the easiest shiny hunts came from using the right methods in the right games. The Sawaddle line was super quick thanks to Dex Nav in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. The Cottonee, Minccino, and Frelish line were all SOS hunts in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, so they showed up pretty fast. The Vanillite, Fungus, and Durat lines, I caught those through the Horde battles in Pokemon X and Y. Alolamolo came in easily too, just a few tries using the fishing method. Even the Generation 5 legendaries were surprisingly quick. In Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Shiny Charm resets made hunts like Virizion fly by. Sword and Shield's improved Masuda method helped me knock out a bunch of egg hunts. Legend Arceus also gave me quick access to the Petlet line, and Scarlet and Violet's sandwich method made shiny hunting for Axio and Dino almost effortless. While I've had plenty of easy shiny hunts, the tougher ones, those were genuinely traumatic. In Pokemon X and Y, I discovered the Pokemon Radar method, and it absolutely broke me. The Generation 5 Elemental Monkeys were some of the most anxiety-inducing hunts I've ever done. All 6 Pokemon took less than a few days, but those days were brutal. Still, I stuck with it, and in the end, I liked this Pokemon so much, I used them in a shiny only save for Generation 7. Oshawott was another nightmare, especially during the earlier days of Legends Arceus. Before that update that made shiny hunting easier, that hunt was super slow, frustrating, and painful. Then there's Tynamo, one of my most favorite shinies of all time, but also one of the worst hunts of all time. I shiny hunted for this Pokemon before Scarlet and Violet were announced, so I had to do it in Generation 6 or 7. It took forever, and the shiny looked so similar to its regular form, I was constantly paranoid I was releasing the wrong one. And Larvesta, that egg has 40 cycles. I hunted for one for my shiny Unova team in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Then for some reason, I went back to hunt another one in Generation 6. I can't imagine doing that now, especially when Scarlet and Violet makes it so much easier to hunt these Pokemon. I never actually failed a shiny from Generation 5, but I definitely ended up with a few unexpected extras. When I shiny hunt through eggs, I usually breed in bulk, like 5 to 10 full boxes, then I just focus on hatching. It's efficient, but sometimes it's probably too efficient. I've accidentally hatched multiple shinies when I only needed one, like Snivy, which I now have across nearly every generation. Same with Yamask, Tortuga, Zorua, Ferroseed, Cubchoo, and Mienfoo. Even Larvesta, again, just recently while working on my Pokedex in Pokemon Home. So if you count those as fails, I've got tons of them. My only random shiny encounter from Unova still feels kind of bizarre. Back in 2021, I was playing Pokemon Black and White to relive some childhood memories after buying a bunch of retro games and systems. While surfing on Route 14 out of nowhere, no shiny charm and no hunting, I just ran into a shiny Basculin. I was happy, but also a little underwhelmed. I was like, really? Basculin out of all the Pokemon? When Pokemon Legends Arceus revealed Basculegion, I was excited to evolve it, until I found out only Hisuian Basculin can evolve. Thankfully, I never moved that Basculin out of Pokemon Black, and it's still right where it appeared. Completely random, completely mine, and honestly, I'm much happier about it than I was before. Most shiny hunts follow a rhythm, right? Whether you're fishing, egg hatching, Dex Nav, Poke Radar, you rinse and repeat. But Meloetta and Keldeo, those took something else entirely. When the Pokemon Company finally made them shiny huntable, there was a catch. You had to complete every Pokedex in both Pokemon Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. At that point, I was already burned out and focused on other games, so getting motivated again wasn't easy. It took months to get myself to sit down and do it again. Catching, evolving, breeding, tracking collectibles, unlocking legendaries. It wasn't hard, but it was definitely exhausting. In the end, I got it done in about 3 days. It was totally worth it despite being annoyed through the entire process. Over the years, I've built up full shiny teams with Unova Pokemon across multiple games. In Pokemon Black 2, I challenged myself to only use shiny Unova Pokemon, and I kept that same mindset going into Pokemon Sword and Shield and then again into Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. In Generation 6, I wasn't as strict, but I still used a ton of shiny Unova Pokemon. Especially in my final save on the 3DS, I brought back some of the elemental monkeys, some old favorites, and then mixed them in with other Pokemon outside of Unova. The screenshots you're seeing now are from Pokemon X and Y, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Sun and Moon, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I love my Generation 6 teams because they used a lot of shiny Mega Evolutions, while my Generation 7 teams had some of the best shiny colors of all time. If I could, I would definitely send those teams back to the original games and relive all of it all over again. It was so much fun. Out of all the shiny memories, I think Snivy still holds the top spot. I collected every badge, entered competitions, did side quests, and collected ribbons, all with that one Pokemon. Someone once told me it looked hacked because of the amount of ribbons it has, but I've got proof in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Most people wouldn't go that far just for one shiny, but I did. I also love my shiny team in Legends Arceus, especially Hisuian Lilligant and Zorua. I never evolved Zorua because it was too cute, and my Lilligant completely swept Bolo with Victory Dance. She was broken. And honestly, shiny hunting in the DS era felt more rewarding. My full odds team in Pokemon Black 2 looked incredible. Shinies just popped out much more on those older screens, and once they moved to the 3DS and the Switch, they lost a bit of that magic. I almost forgot my first shiny hunt didn't even happen in a mainline game. It was actually in Pokemon Go. I hunted for Snivy there, and after that I went for Tepig and Oshawa. So technically my shiny journey started in Pokemon Go and not in Kalos like I thought. And then there's my shiny Genesect from 2014. It was distributed to players in Korea who saw Genesect and the Legend Awakened. Most people hack their mythical Pokemon in today, but mine came from a friend, and it's one of the most rarest, meaningful Pokemon I have. The entire Unova Pokedex can never truly be shiny because Victini is the only one who is still shiny locked. Someday I hope the Pokemon Company also allows us to get shiny Victini as well. I'd complete an entire Pokedex all over again just to have it. If you enjoyed this shiny deep dive, I've got more coming your way, from chaotic Mario challenges to nostalgic Pokemon hunts. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe to join the verse, and check out some of my other videos here.